Hello my friends all over the world, wherever you are. Today I'm going to be making some watermelon juice, and I'm going to shred the rind and press the flesh. So I want to make juice out of both the rind and the flesh, and the first step is to wash the watermelon thoroughly because the rind is going through the shredder. Let's take a look at that. Okay, what I'm going to do is use a scrubber and scrub any dirt off the rind. I want to make sure it's as clean as possible all around. And then I'm going to rinse it with water and then transfer it over to my cutting board. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is cut this into about 1 and 1.5 inch slabs. And we'll set these aside. We're going to shred the rind and press the flesh with the seeds and all. Now what I'm going to do next is peel off the rind and set that aside. Set the rind aside. Because we're going to press the flesh without shredding it, and then shred the rind and mix the two together. So we'll put the rind over here in a separate bowl and then trim off the rind, because we're going to juice the flesh only by pressing it and then shred the rind. Now here's my last piece of rind being cut off. Now the next thing I'm going to do is cut the flesh into more manageable pieces so they'll fit in cloths properly. Now the first thing I'm going to do is install my near zero blowback cutter. It's got over 80 teeth cut into the 5 blades. And for watermelon juice, I'm using the number 2 grid with 1/8 inch holes. The first thing I'm going to do is shred the rind. And what I'll do is break the rind up into manageable pieces and feed it through the feed tube. Now because fruit is very liquid, you want to keep this covered as much as you can, even though it's a zero blowback front loading feed tube, but you want to minimize any blowback by keeping it covered. Another thing I want to point out is with the rind I'm putting in 100 grams of ginger and 140 grams of turmeric. So let's do that now. Do a little more rind first. Here's the last of my rind. And one of the things I love about this front loading feed tube, I can see that not all of the rind is shred. So what I'm going to do is pour a little pulp in here and force that last plug of rind through. And then I'm going to keep the rind separate and press this later after I press the flesh. There we go, all of the rind is shred. So next I'm going to clean the feed tube, get all the pulp out of the feed tube, put it in one of these jars, and then continue with pressing the flesh. Now I keep all of my cloths for fruit in the freezer separated, a couple for apple juice, a couple for watermelon, and so on. So the first thing I'm going to do is unfold these cloths and I'm going to line them with a bamboo liner to prevent the watermelon from sticking to the cloth. So the first thing we're going to do is take a slab of watermelon, and I noticed last time they burst at the corners, so I'm going to cut off these sharp corners and put them in the middle. Fold the bamboo liner over the watermelon, and normally I would press 2 at a time, but these slabs are too thick, I think. So let's set it aside and let's see if we can get 2 of them in there. And another bamboo liner. Again, I'm going to cut off these sharp corners. I don't know if it'll help or not, but we'll find out. Fold the bamboo over in both directions. And fold your juicing cloth over the bamboo liner and the watermelon. Now I think that's going to be too thick. Let's find out. Yes, I'm correct. So let's press these one at a time in the center of the tray, centered left to right, centered front to back. Now you notice how you can access this from all around, all the way back, and I'm going to back it off because fruit is very, very slippery. So let's get a container, turn this on, now while my second cloth is pressing, again centered left to right, centered front to back, while the next cloth is pressing, I'm going to open up the bamboo and put in another slab of watermelon. This time I'm not going to cut the corners off. Now notice I put the new slab right on top of the old pulp. You do not throw away your spent pulp. And at the very end I'm going to show you how I can get 10% more juice using a Whole Health Foundation Premium Juicer. So I'm going to continue with this rhythm until I do all of my watermelon flesh. And we'll continue. Now I'm pressing the last of my pulp here, and what I'm going to do with this spent pulp is I'm going to set it aside and shred it through the shredder to see if we can get any more juice out of this spent pulp. Now I'm going to press the rind pulp. And we'll put about a cup's worth, a cup and a half of this pulp in each cloth using a bamboo liner. Fold the bamboo liner over the pulp, fold the cloth over the bamboo liner, and I'm going to set that aside and press 2 cloths full of rind pulp at one time. And again, about a cup or a cup and a half. Remember, you never hit from the top because you're going to force your pulp to go up on the side and down. And fold the bamboo over the pulp, fold the cloth over the bamboo, and 2 cloths full of pulp into the press, centered left to right, centered front to back. Make any adjustments you need to, all the way back, back it off a little bit. Notice the green color from the rind, and once it's flowing, advance it all the way. And we'll open up this bamboo. We're not going to throw away the pulp. What we're going to do is put new pulp on top of the already pressed pulp. And again, about a cup or a cup and a half. Fold the bamboo liner over the rind pulp. Fold the cloth over the bamboo liner. Fold it as tight a package as you can make and set it aside. And we'll continue. And advance it a little bit more. What I'm going to do next is pour both of these containers into this bowl and mix both together, because I want a homogeneous mixture. The next thing I'm going to do after putting in a few ice cubes to cool down this cutter and feed tube is shred the already pressed flesh. I want to satisfy my curiosity and see if we can get any more juice out of that. So let's start feeding in some already spent pulp. Keep your hand or the pusher over this at all times, because fruit will spit back. Here's one of the advantages of wearing gloves. Your pulp is going to remain clean if you're using gloves. Now, what I'm going to do with this reprocessed, spent flesh is put it on top of this already pressed pulp, and let's see if my curiosity gets satisfied. Let's see if we get any more juice. So I'll put about 3 scoops on top, maybe 4, and then refold it. Fold the cloth over the pulp as tight a package as I can make, and let's see if we get any more juice out of this already spent pulp that was shred again. Well, I think I can get 2 cloths in there, so let's do it that way. Let's put 2 cloths in there instead of 1. All the way back, back it off a little bit. Now let's put in more pulp. All right, we'll open that up. And we'll put in another 4 ladles full of pulp on top of the old spent pulp. I think 4 ladles should be enough. And then fold the cloth over the bamboo liner as before. We'll make as tight a package as we can. Set that aside. We'll do 2 cloths again. Advance it a little bit more. Not all the way yet. A little more. And then all the way. Now what I'm going to do now is take both of these spent bamboo liners full of pulp and form it into as tight a package as I can make, into a big ball. And I'm going to put this in the cloth again, and I'm going to pull this under as many times as I can. This is a pretty thick package, so I don't think we can get it more than once. And do that in both directions. Now, I'm going to use a measuring beaker to see if we get any more juice out of this, using the Whole Health Foundation Premium Model Juicer. All the way back it off a little bit. Well, so far we've got 2 ounces. And as long as you have a steady flow, you can leave it up. Well, there's 6.5 ounces of juice so far. That's almost 20% more juice. So I'm going to pour this into the container and we'll put it into bottles after we mix it with the rest of the juice. Right, my next to my last step is to mix this spent pulp juice with the regular juice. What I'm going to do now is use a 4-cup container to ladle this into these larger containers and then pour them into bottles. I can't wait to taste this watermelon juice with ginger and with turmeric. Well, from this watermelon I got 11 bottles of juice and enough for a taste test. And I even cut one slab out of the middle for my wife who wanted to eat it instead of drink the juice. So now we'll cap this off. Well, my friends, as you can see, we have 5, 10, 11 bottles of juice and enough left over for a taste test. And remember, more than one of these bottles was the pressing that we got from using the Whole Health Foundation premium model by pressing the already spent pulp. So we got about 15% more juice out of this watermelon juice. And remember, I cut one 1.5 inch thick slab out of the middle of the watermelon for my wife because she wanted to eat it. So let's taste this juice. Well, my friends, here we have watermelon juice with a little bit of turmeric and ginger. Wow, this is delicious. It tastes almost like candy, like watermelon candy. The turmeric and the ginger sweetens it up and gives it some really positive flavor. Well, I hope you like what you've seen, my friends. And I have heard that watermelon juice will make men more potent. I don't know if it's true or not. Sounds like a wives' tale to me. But many people on the web say that it's true. I hope you like what you've seen, and if you do, please tell a friend. If you'd like to telephone me, my phone number is 760-753-0321. My email address is developtrust@cox.net, and my webpage is wholehealthfound.com. See you in the next video.